Hi everyone, this video is all about how to recognize that your goat needs deworming, how to take fecal samples, what type of dewormers to use. Now bear in mind, this is a disclaimer, I am not a veterinarian, I am not a parasite control specialist, I am just a homesteader having an experience with goats and sharing my journey. So please don't come down on us with mistakes that we have done. You're going to see some videos the older videos that I'm going to put into this video here with mistakes that we've done, with actual pictures that trouble me when I look at them today. But however, we have learned so much from this experience, and I hope that I can help others out there, new goat owners, not to make the same mistakes that we did. So for the dewormers, the deworming here in Quebec is super important because for some reason we have a hard time keeping the parasite control population down. Goats are resisting more and more to our dewormers. And so I'd like to show you the 3 categories of dewormers, and so that you can understand that once you've once your goats, or I shouldn't say the goats, once the parasites have resisted to one type of medicine, one type of dewormer, then you're having to go into another class, another category. And so there's like many brands in the first category, second category, and then there's a third. But once you hit the third, that's when you're in trouble. There's problems.
So first we'll talk about the barber pole worm, which is called the Ammochus contortus, and I'm not pronouncing that right, I'm pretty sure. It sucks blood from the host, leading to anemia, pale mucous membranes. So that's the Faecal, if you're familiar with that. If you pull under the eyelid, you'll see inside the skin, instead of being nice and light pink, it'll be like whitish, and it can have some mucus in there. It could lead to severe edema, swelling, and possible sudden death, which has happened to us, and I'll get to that in a minute. And next up, we're going to talk about the threadneck worm, Nematoderus. Severe watery yellow-green diarrhea, dehydration, thirst, and again, possible death. Then there's the nodular worm, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce that word. The GI tract inflammation causing pain, arched back, stilted gait, and anemia. So I see this quite frequently in goats around here, and the posture of your goat is really important. So observing your goat and seeing if there's if he's hunched, I call them hunched instead of arched. That's a possible sign that your goat has nodular worm. So the last one here is the bankrupt worm. So causes anemia, edema, swelling. Again, it's associated with poor hygiene, and overcrowding typically affects young animals. So a lot of the symptoms here are common between the different type of worms. So it's really important to keep an eye on your goat and to observe them a lot to see if there's anything different physically, and check the eyelids for Faecal. So now we're going to go and take a look at the classes.
So the first class is what we call the white dewormers, so benzimidazoles. So there's albendazole, valbenzen, febendazole, safeguard, panicure, afendazole, and synanthic. So these are your white dewormers. So normally you would start with this category. A lot of veterinarians will start with the second category, which is the ivermectin, and we're going to go to that one right now. So the second category is the membrane depolarizing. So ivermectin, aprenomectin, aprenex, moxidectin, Sidectin, Dormectin, and Dectomax. And the last category is the macrocyclic lactones. So macrocyclic or cyclic, not even sure how to pronounce that. So there's levamisole, tramadol, prohibit, parental, strongid, marantel, and reumatel. So these are quite common as well. Dewormers that can be used, some of them in
dogs or cats. Actually, you can also use the Safeguard with dogs. That's what I use when I have a litter of puppies. So basically, these are your 3 categories. And it's important that when you're buying a brand that you go and check and see what category, what class it belongs to. Because once you have to graduate from one class to another because you are finding that the worms are resisting, so you have resistance against a certain product, and you're moving to another class, then that means that you're kind of eliminating all your options here as you move up along from class to class. So it's always best to try different products before you actually go to another category. Some people even do a mix of 2 categories when you're hit hard with like something real bad, like what happened to us last year. I'll be talking to you about this and showing you some pictures in just a minute. I had to do like a mix of the ivermectin and the I believe I used Valbenzen and ivermectin. So 2 different classes together, but I actually saved one of my goats' lives. These pictures are very hard for me to look at. This is Ren. This is my main buck that I lost last year due to barber pole. And this is where I really needed to get educated on this subject. So if you look at his back, or you look at this guy's back, this is Target. Look how skinny they are. They're arched, or I called hunched. You can see it even on this side here. This is not good. When you start seeing this happen, you got to act fast. I mean, they went down really fast. And so I had to do something very quickly. So I'm going to show you now in this next picture, the Faecal, so pulling down the eyelid, and you can see that white membrane that's in the corner of the eye. And I'm going to show it to you closer in the other eye. Now this one's real bad. This is actually the other goat. Look how bad this is. Now I promise you that I had seen it, but it probably doubled in 2 days. So the next thing to watch for is the gums. Look how white they are. These are actual pictures, guys. They break my heart. But when you just don't know, or you just don't check every day, this is what can happen.
So what we have here is a very, very sick goat that's infested with barber pole. Actually, these guys here are all quarantined because they are so infested with barber pole. Barber pole is the Amacus. It's a worm that silently kills your goats, and for some reason they have been dewormed. They were dewormed on a scheduled deworming because here in Quebec the soils are just infested with that kind of parasite, and the dose was just not enough. And so I'm trying to bring him back. This is Ren. This is our main goat. And the reason why I'm doing this video is that I want people out there to be aware, so they don't have to go through what I've been through in the last 3 days, what we have been through. We almost lost Ren last night. So now I'm hydrating him with electrolytes. He has had 3 different dewormers. What we did is a combination treatment, because when they're clinically ill at this point, this is what's recommended. There is a lot of videos out there and information on how to keep good management, pasture management in order to avoid this. I'm probably going to take these goats and bring them into a stall onto dry grounds. These guys here are not so bad. This one here, horribly, like within 3 days, he's just lost weight, and lost weight. And if you look, their eyes, if you look at the Faecal, Come on, Ren. You can see that it's super white. That is horrible, terrible. And I just don't know how it got there. And within days, they just go down. It's not like we haven't been, feeding well or watching them. It's just a silent killer that happens so fast. So what we're doing now is they've had their treatments. They even had Baycock's treatment for coccidia in case, because they did have scours. But I think it's just because they're too late in the process. So now I'm hydrating him every half hour or so with electrolytes. And I also gave injections of penicillin. I gave vitamin B12 because they're so anemic. So it's a shot, intramuscular shot. And I also gave Vitamaster, a bunch of vitamins, in order to try to get the body to assimilate them, since he's not able to eat or anything. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. We're going to keep him hydrated. Him as well. He is not so bad. He's standing, drinking, and eating. He is not. Yeah, you can see even his head is wobbly. So we'll keep you posted.
Also, I forgot to mention coccidia. This type of parasite may cause mucus and blood in the stool, straining to defecate, loss of appetite, and rectal prolapse, along with abdominal pain, and can lead to possible sudden death.
Okay, so now I'm going to be sharing with you the types of dewormers we use here on the farm. So first we're going to start with our natural dewormer that is only used as prevention when everything looks well. So Fumancha is good, no white mucousy membrane in the eyes, weight is good, everything's dried, like during the summertime when everything is drier, or even like right before winter after they've had all the other dewormers. Then we'll do some Saridago homeopathic remedy dewormer. And normally with this, we give about, I think it's 4 cc's to 6 cc's per goat, depending on the size. And then we have a very common one, which is Safeguard. Now, Safeguard is not to be used in pregnant goats or lactating. You can, but there is a holding withdrawal period. I'm going to put the chart right after I'm done explaining these to you, and you can refer to this chart for dosage for all these products. Okay, so Safeguard I also use with my puppy litters, so it's good to use, and it's really good. It works very well. And then we have, again, in the white dewormers, we have Valbenzen, which in that little clip that I'm going to show you, I deworm this kid goat with. And then there's Ivomec. Ivomec is getting a bad reputation for some reason, but the veterinarians around here still think it's a good product to use, and both our vets do have goats, and I guess they're using this product with their goats as well. So the dosage on this one is quite higher. Again, you can refer to that chart. So basically, instead of using a little syringe like this, like I use for the other dewormers, the white dewormers, I'm going to use a bigger one like this, or an actual sheep or goat drench. Basically, that's what we use here on a farm. And so there are 2 categories there. I don't know if you've noticed. So in the white dewormers, we do have the Safeguard and Valbenzen, and then second category, ivermectin, Ivomec. So I have yet to try anything in the third category, such as Levimazole. I'm holding off on that. They're doing well right now. Lesson learned, keep them dewormed, keeping them on a schedule. Now I know that some people are doing great on natural dewormers, such as Rose in Wholesome Roots. That's the name of the channel. So Rose on Wholesome Roots has some very good natural dewormers. However, we're not living in the same climate, which is similar. Like I use the homeopathic remedy to just kind of keep them clean. But she makes her own with, I believe it's essential oils and stuff, and she's doing well. So you can check out her YouTube channel. There's also Blue Cactus, which is, she's not using necessarily natural products, but she's very, very knowledgeable when it comes to goats and deworming and all kinds of stuff. There's Jess from Wholesome Roots. No, did I say Wholesome Roots? Roots and Refuge. Wholesome Roots is Rose. Roots and Refuge is Jess. So she's got experience with Nubian goats as well. And again, climates are different. So look around, look for information concerning your own climate where you live out in the world. So basically, this is it for deworming goats, taking fecal samples, and dealing with goats. All about the goats. We've had problems but now they seem to be doing very well. Also, goats really like to eat up high, like in the trees, the leaves and little branches, and they like to go and forage and go and get what they actually need. So that may help with parasite control. Like if your goats are on wet grounds or you're not rotating pastures, then they're more prone to catching these parasites. Now, not everybody can rotate their goats in pasture, but if you can take them on walks and let them just go through a forest and feed off branches and leaves, that's wonderful. That actually really helps with parasites. And I'll in another video about goat feed and how to choose your hay or what type of hay, I'll explain more about the goat nutrition. But for this video, we'll stick with dewormers and the different classes. So just stay tuned for the little clip of how we take a fecal sample, and you won't see me giving the dewormer to the goat because I just explained what I'm giving and how much. There's a fly around here. And just because I forgot to turn the camera on, but basically I just put it in that little syringe like this, held its head up and had him swallow it. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to get a goat fecal sample. So first of all, I'd like to look at her mancha. And see inside there, it's not as pink. So she was out. She was dewormed. She was dewormed with ivermectin. So now I'm going to show you how to get the fecal sample. So basically, I have a glove, medical glove on, and I'm just going to go in through the anus. And collect what I need. It's not super comfortable for the goat. I don't want her falling off. So I have my pebbles here. What I do is I just pull my glove over like so, and then tie a knot in it. I got a little baggies with the glove right here, and I'm going to put the name of the goat, day and time. You'll have to put the year because you really need to get this to the vet within the same day if possible, or if not, you have to put it in the fridge. So that's how you get a fecal sample. Okay, so Jojo's up here on the stand, and I looked at her mancha. It's still pretty pink, but there's pulling too hard here, I'm trying to keep steady. You can't really see it, but there's definitely starting, they're starting to be whiter, and I don't like her weight. So we're going to be deworming her today. So today I'm going to be using Valbenzen. And we're going to be doing 2 cc's per 25 pounds. All right, so that sums it up. Like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm not a veterinarian. I am just a person sharing our journey with goats with you guys. Take care. Until next time.